So this bumper started off looking pretty rough, but with a bit of sanding, some spray paint and a whole lot of winging it ended up a different rough. Definitely not pro level, but a lot better than it was. Here's how it went. This bit has pressed in a little bit, so I think the first thing to do is just sand all this down and put a bit of filler in all of these little cracks here, so that's what I'm going to do. I mean, once I've rubbed it down, it might not need the filler, I'm not sure. Definitely will on this one. I'm not sure about these cracks. Can't feel anything. Don't think it's going to need any filler on these bits. It's just going to be that middle bit there. I suppose before I go too mad, the next thing to do is fill those in, so that's what I'll do. I'll fill this and these little holes here. Well, this is the stuff I'm using. Isopon P38 body filler. Just comes with your spreader, hardener. Just pop that open. I've used this before, but I'm not a professional. It's just sort of a lifetime of bodgery. It's never come out particularly great, but I'm gonna give it a go anyway. So yeah, just mix up some of this. Probably gonna need a bit more, and then just need a little bit of this hardener. Drop that in there. Hopefully that's enough. What you do need to do is just put it on really as thinly as you can, because the thicker you do it, the more sanding you've got to do. Me being me, I've got the cheapest tripod going, so I need a better one really. So like I say, just going to fill this. The rest of it sounds pretty smooth. All this seems alright, to be honest. It's just this, and I just want to put it on as thinly as I can really. Just to want to fill that gap there. This isn't. I'm using the wrong end of the spreader. Right. Let's try the correct thinner end. It's better. I just want to fill that gap, like I say, not go too crazy, so I haven't got to go mad with sanding. I've mixed up slightly too much filler, but now I'll start thinking, what else should I fill? I mean, get down the right rabbit hole. Right, sort of been invaded by the kids. You might hear them in the background, but it's dried. I've got 800, not sure whether that's too much or not. Soon find out. Yeah. Oh, doesn't seem. This is where I always struggle. Just getting this to sort of blend in. I might give it a go with the old wet. A bit of wet. At this point, the kids were getting too much. It's giving me a headache just watching it back, so I'm sure you don't want to listen to it. It was working a lot better with the water. There was a few high points on the edges that needed some extra effort and rougher paper. I then went back into the finer paper to make sure it was silky smooth. Could not feel any imperfections, otherwise it will show once the paint is applied. Well, there's a couple of just little bits here that weren't completely smooth, so just gonna add a touch more filler on that. Right, let's sand the rest of that bit off, make it nice and smooth. a little bit more there. And then I just need to spray it really, try and blend it in with the rest of it. Just give it a light dusting every 15 minutes. It's tempting to sort of go mad, but you've got to wait, otherwise you get runs. A bit thick there. It's not ideal out of a can. So it's getting there slowly. Seems too thick, but it has to be in order to blend the colour in, but it does dry up alright. Well, that's done so far anyway. It's had a bit of time to dry and I'm happy with the overall result, although you can still see some faint filler marks. I'm not sure whether it needed to be primed first or the paint just wasn't thick enough. Please let me know in the comments if you know why this might be. Apparently it has had too much time to dry. You were supposed to lacquer it about an hour after the base coat has been applied, which is probably where I've been going wrong in the past. This has been sat here for about 3 or 4 weeks. I think the best thing to do is put another layer of base coat on, leave it for an hour and then put the lacquer on. Well, it's worth a go, wasn't it? Right, the first stage is to rough this up so the paint can stick to it. So apparently you're meant to use a 1200 grit. Unfortunately I don't have that, I've got 1000, so I'm going to give that a go. Maybe don't go too hard with it and see what happens. That'll do. Let's put some paint on it. Right, the coat's on, so now I'm just going to leave that for an hour and then put the lacquer on. Well, the weather's perked up a bit now, so I've moved it back onto the front lawn. It looks alright, looks pretty good. So spray some lacquer on and see what happens. I've waited 15 minutes as per the instructions on the can. This is what I'm using. Let's give it another coat. I've given it a bit of time to dry, and I'm not overly convinced it's made much of a difference, to be honest. It's not, still doesn't seem to have that. I see a bit of a shine to it actually. There is a few marks where the filler coming through as well. So probably could have done with a bit more base coat, but from a distance you're not going to notice it. Looks fine. So apparently if you leave it a couple of weeks you can sort of polish it, and hopefully that'll give me that shine. So that's what I'm going to do. Well, I've left this about 3 weeks because I've just not had a chance to get round to it, and I've got to be honest, I'm not over the moon of it. You can see it's streaky. Yeah, it just hasn't come out great. I think it's mainly due to using a rattle can. I think with a spray gun, if we laid it on thicker and more even, it would come out better. But yeah, it's not great, but it still looks better than it did when I started. Going to try with a rubbing compound, see if I can make it any better. Let's give it a go. Alright, it says to apply with a clean, damp, soft cloth. So let's give it a go. And also to rub forwards and backwards, not circles, as I tend to do. Alright, let's give it a go then. Hopefully this looks better. Might get rid of all them streaks with a bit of luck. Oh, who knows? Who knows how long to rub it for either. Don't tell you that. Looks better up close. So look, seems to have sorted the lacquer issue that I had with the streaky lacquer, but it's just enhanced the bad base coat. But it definitely looks better than it did. But yeah, it's just the base coat. It wasn't laid on evenly enough with that can. I think it needs to be done with a gun, I think, to get a nice finish. Let's give it one more go and see what we get. I feel it getting smoother. So it has a bit of a sort of tacky, sandy feel to it before. It definitely feels smoother. So yeah, I think definitely looks better than it did. Like I say, it's just the painting wasn't brilliant. The boot actually needs doing on this, and I was thinking of having that a go, but giving that a go, but definitely not with a can now. I might have to maybe bodge another video, have a bit of a go with a compressor, see how we get on with that. Right, this is the final result. I think I'm going to put this one down as a bit of a failure. It looks better than it did when I started with, but you can clearly tell that someone's had a go. So yeah, next time anything like this, definitely have a go on the spray gun. But let me know what you guys think. If you do know what you're doing, please comment below on what I could have done differently, maybe even a bodge rating out of 10. I've plenty more planned for this car, so keep an eye out for the next videos. Thank you for watching.